It's a greatest hits edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. This time, Jeff Hayden, Peg Fitzpatrick, and John Lee Dumas all stop by and drop knowledge bombs on Delivering Marketing Joy. You wrote this article that Rob Lowe is making you do 100,000 push-ups and 50,000 sit-ups this year. Why is this Rob Lowe's fault?
Well, it's not really Rob Lowe's fault. Like any good marketer, part of getting your message across is you have to find a way to catch attention.
Yes.
And Rob is a good example. The key to, though, whenever you do try to catch attention, especially if it's online stuff, you have to pay off with whatever your attention-grabbing thing is. So the payoff to that is Rob currently does a show. It's called The Grinder, and he plays an actor who played a lawyer. Work with me. And kind of the premise was that his nickname was The Grinder. And, you know, his whole shtick is, I grind it out. You know, I never give up. I never do whatever. So I thought that's kind of, even though in the show it doesn't really come across this way, it's kind of an apt metaphor for how a lot of people succeed, because
Right.
I don't know anyone that's hugely successful that did it overnight, that didn't have to put in years and hours and effort and sweat and persistence and willpower. I don't know anybody like that, not that has had long-term success.
Yeah.
And we also kind of currently live in a hacking culture, so to speak, where there's this idea that if you can figure out that one little twist that lets you do minimal work and get maximum output, you know, your life is going to be infinitely better. And I think that works occasionally, but usually, again, the people that do super well have found something that they repeat over and over and over again, and they get better and better and better at it. And that is the source of their success. So I kind of took that and said, you know, the metaphor of that really then is, you know, successful people grind.
Yeah.
They stay with it. They find something that works. They find something that's critical to their success, and then they work it and they improve it, and they keep cruising. So that's kind of the story of it.
Yeah.
And so what I tried to do in a sort of an eye-catchy way, because I have a book coming out in the fall, and it's about goal achievement and success and stuff like that. And so, you know, I need some ways to help sell it. And so I thought, you know, if you think about lots of big achievements, most of them are built on lots of really small, specific steps along the way. And so, you know, 100,000 push-ups sounds like a lot of push-ups, and it is.
And it is.
But if you break it down per day, it's less than 300 a day. So that still sounds like a lot, but if you do that, at the end of the year, I'll be able to say, wow, I did 100,000 push-ups. And it will not have been this massive,
Right.
horrible burst that I had to kind of go through. And the same is true with the sit-up part of it. So the whole premise is that that's just one example, but if you have something that you want to do and that it's important to you, and let's say it's business related, you can do really big things if you break it into small chunks and you grind it out, and every day you do that and you do that and you do that and you improve and you
Right.
try to get better at it. I mean, it's not mindless,
Yeah.
but that's what success is
Yeah.
picking key things that are important and repeating them.
Yeah, I think Seth Godin talks a little bit about this in the book The Dip, where he says that, you know, at first you go off and you're making these great strides, and then it kind of goes like this. And the people who are successful long term keep going during the dip. And so that, I think, speaks to what you're saying.
Yeah, and the other part of it is that, you know, we all have, anybody that runs a business, let's say, has 50 things they do or should do or could do, let's say could do, on a regular basis. But there are usually 3 or 4 at the most that's where you really, really add value to what you do. And so, you know, if you're running a marketing firm and you're really, the thing you do best is client relationships, well, then that should be what you spend as much of your time on as possible, because that's where you're really earning your keep.
Right.
And all the other stuff that you can be kind of good at or that's nice to do, maybe that's for somebody else.
Right.
Maybe that's for nobody else. So it does still come back to that kind of fundamental, what has the biggest bang for the buck? And shouldn't I be doing that consistently and to the best of my ability?
I was just going to say, let me kind of paint a picture real quick on your consistency part of it, which I think is so important, is that just picture, like, if you, and let's even not say daily, because daily isn't the key to success, but consistency is, to your point. Like, that word is the important thing. So let's just say you say, hey, every Wednesday, I'm going to release a video show or a podcast or whatever it might be. And you start to build an audience, and then that audience wakes up and they say, okay, it's Wednesday, I got to drive to work, and I'm not excited. It's hump day. It's the middle of the week. But you know what? Kirby launched his show today, his video show on iTunes. So they turn on their computer, they log into iTunes, they go to Kirby's show, and then they click the refresh button, and there's nothing there. And they click it again, and there's nothing there. And then they say, oh, that's a disappointment. And they drive to work being like, man, I was really looking forward to that, and Kirby let me down. Well, next Wednesday comes, do you think that your fan is going to go through all of that process? No, like, you might have just lost that listener. You might have just lost that viewer. You might have lost that fan. So you need to set up a content publishing calendar, a scheduler, and stick to that. Consistency is key. Consistency on your decision, if that's once a week, twice a month. Just be verbal and vocal with your audience, and then stick to it.
It's unbelievably great advice, and something I'm trying to live. Let's put it that way, right? You know, in the past, one of the things that I've noticed is that social media and sort of blogging are has been viewed as separate. Now, I read a recent blog from you that said, hey, marketers need to look at those things as complementary.
Together.
Yeah. Right?
And I've always felt that way since I started. I think it really was separate. I think blogging was one thing and social media was a separate thing. But I just read an article, not on my blog, that was talking about BuzzFeed, who is amazing. They get ready for their number, like 5 billion hits to a blog a month. 5 billion a month.
That's amazing.
So they clearly have figured it out. Yeah. Like 75% of that is from social media.
Wow.
That's so amazing. What can we learn from that? More social media for your blog. People, there's so many blogs in the world now. People are not just going to find it on their own by searching for, like, I'm joyful about marketing. What can I find? You know, like, how are people going to find, you know, help with marketing for small business? You know, there's just so many blogs now that social media is what really, really helps people find it. Organic search is still number one to my blog, which is awesome. But social media is, you know, what I can personally do to make my blog post more popular. So you should definitely spend as much time promoting your post as you do writing it, which is a very different concept for people. But, you know, you put together a show like you do, it's a lot of work, right? Yeah. You find the guests, you do the questions, you're editing, you're, you know, interviewing, and then you're creating all the information. You can't just hit publish, whether it's a blog post, podcast, video, those kind of all have the same things that you need to do. Sure. You have to do things afterwards to help people find it. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And yeah, that's the piece where I like what you say about spending as much time in promoting it as you do working on it, editing it, writing it, because I think that's a different way of looking at it. It is a very new way of looking at it, but I think that's definitely the way things are going. Because the reality is we can only create so much new original content. Yeah. It's very hard.
It is.
I do one blog post a week. Yeah. And I applaud myself for getting my one blog post out. I'm an individual. Like, I don't have a team. I don't have a bunch of people, you know, doing my research, doing my editing, doing my promotion. It's all me. And I'm happy that I get one really good blog post out a week. Could my blog get more traffic if I did more blog posts? Sure, but I would be really stressed. Yeah. And I think the quality would suffer. So I go for quality over quantity. And then I go for quality and quantity for my social media posts. Like, I work more on the social aspect of it. So,
well, yeah, and I think you're consistent too. So whether you decide to do it every day or every week, you're consistent with that, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, there was a time when the big bloggers were telling everybody, no, you need to publish more. Like, every day, if you want to be, you know. And I love Jay Bear to death. I love Jay Bear. Yeah. But he's on, like, this daily thing. He's got a big team of people, right? Yeah. Gary Vaynerchuk has a team of people.
Exactly.
They put out a lot of content.
Yeah, no.
You know, they could put out more blog posts, more things because they have more people. Jay's got like 5 podcasts, I think, now associated with his blog. So he's got other people hosting, other people doing it. I'm still like organic in me. And there's nothing wrong with having a team. Like, if that's awesome. But I don't recommend to other people that you try to put out 5 blog posts a week because I don't do it.
Yeah, right.
I think the one quality piece is better than trying to like just do too much that you can't handle.
Thanks for watching, but wait! Can you do me a favor? Please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done it already, the way to do it's right over here. And hey, if you want to watch the last episode, check that out over here. Again, before you leave, subscribe!